Canada flirts with, and right now we're doing a lot more than flirting with, kind of abandoning that notion of income inequality being something to strive for, and we're being told, oftentimes that, that our only hope is to just unleash the creative capacity of capital, and everything will be all right. The OECD has just released a study about 2 months ago on income inequality in all of the OECD countries, and what they show is that the income inequalities are what they were in the 1930s now. That in Canada, the gap, which is growing faster, the gap between the rich and poor is growing faster in Canada than in the United States. Now it's much wider in the US than here. The other part, so that's something that's very important. So, but here, now what's happening in civil society? Well, nobody's mentioned it yet, but I'm about to. The Occupy movement. Look at what has happened. That links together, digital, social media, digital learning opportunities, engagement, desire to do something, and some data. They've framed an issue which has communicated so easily that it's been picked up in city after city by person after person, and the 1% and the 99%. And you listen to. I was listening to some commentary about the U.S. presidential, the primaries in the U.S. and the CNN, are not the world's greatest radicals. Were saying that the debate, the ballot question is moving from job creation to inequality. Now that's amazing. That's civil society. That's civil society, and that's what your president and you folks. He said he doesn't know how to do it. You're going to do it. That's the space in which you are entering into. Now, another reason why this opportunity is really fascinating is because of changes in the way that we understand knowledge. Universities, among other things, are given the mandate by the state, by society. These are the places that are supposed to kind of manage, mobilize, work on knowledge issues. So we do research. The research hopefully has some impact, and this is the place. This is the main place. You have some private research centers. You have some independent think tanks, but for the most part, the big investment in research and development in Canada is in universities. But there's a lot. So we're starting to think about knowledge in much more active, much more strategic ways than we used to. And there's a link between the epistemological basis of civil society and the expressed values around things like global social justice. And so you get this. There's sociologists in the room. The extraordinary work of Boaventura de Santos Sousa, who talks about, among other things, he's a very smart guy, he writes about way too many things, but one of his very powerful insights is that he says that there will be no global social justice without global cognitive justice. Cognitive justice. And what he means by that is that we simply based on kind of white European Western knowledge, we're not apt to be able to find our way through the very complex, sustained, chronic kinds of crises and issues that so many people here this morning have spoken about. So there's a lot of things happening, and I'm talking about this stuff as knowledge democracy, because I just think knowledge democracy is a little easier to access than cognitive justice, which is a little more academic sounding. So what does this mean if we think about knowledge democracy, and if we think about creating a new school, we're going to be thinking about, knowledge democracy? Well, it means being aware that knowledge is created in a lot of other places other than the university. The university has lost its monopoly, if it ever had, on kind of knowledge production. And now this isn't a new message. I see, a number, Sally and Glenn and a number of others of you who have been pushing this stuff forward for many, many years. But it is newer. It's new in the sense that it's being recognized now by senior administrators and by vice presidents of research, and certainly all years ago by these insightful deans like Carrie. We are also part of this knowledge democracy, are the creation of just what Linda and her colleagues have done here, this Institute for Community Engaged Scholarship. Because I was talking to Paul earlier this morning at breakfast, and he said, it's difficult because civil society or the community, they can't find the door into the university. So, Ken's working with these community groups. Those people, they can't find the door. These are very complicated structures. Those of us who are inside can hardly find the doors. So this is why you now see this new generation over the last 5-6 years in Canada and other parts of the world as well. Structures like the Institute for Community Engaged Scholarship, or at our university it's called the Office of Community-Based Research, and across the country you're seeing these things sort of rolling out, because we know in universities that knowledge is being created in other places, and we know that if we can find more effective, deeper, long-term research partnerships, which is going to recognize the co-creation of knowledge, we have to have structures like this. The other thing that has gained, and this has gained slowly but steadily over the last 30 years, is that the way in which we represent reality, the way in which the research methods, used to be that all we had were statistical research methods, and then we got and then it was okay to start telling stories, and we call that qualitative research. But it's been fascinating. If you look now in any of these big handbooks on how to do research, you'll find stuff in there you just can't believe. It's really exciting. You'll find people who say that you can use dance to represent reality. You can use photography to represent reality. You can use poetry. You can use theater. There are so many ways to represent reality. So it's in terms of civil society. If we're going to be working in closer context of civil society, we are going to want to be, and we're going to want to relate to the way in which the way that society creates knowledge, which isn't just in peer-reviewed journals, and it's not just doing a survey. So that's exciting. Not all of us do these different things, but they are in all the fields of literature, and in all of our academic fields, where things have changed in the way that we understand these things. There are networks now, different kinds of networks. So this network that I'm associated with, the Global Alliance of Community Engaged Research, which has its mandate is to try and influence policy and funding climates, at an international level and kind of governmental levels, picks up a lot of energy. But there are 7 or 8 of these kinds of networks that are now emerging, and Guelph is a member of several of these and has lots of opportunities to contribute and learn from that.